It slithered through foreign countries like a venomous snake, and then hit our land, the USA. The Viper virus. The world was changing right before our eyes. Everyone was talking about the coronavirus. All of a sudden, it changed our lives forever. In March, we watched as China and Italy were dealing with this virus. Would it affect America? Would it affect us?
It became a pandemic, the coronavirus.
It was changing every detail of our daily routine.
It attacked us without warning, closing our beaches, restaurants, and schools.
It attacked our South Florida community, and then the rest of our state. Fort Lauderdale, Florida closed their beaches during the height of spring break, an annual ritual for college students. One would have thought a hurricane was coming, but it was a virus and it was traveling fast. It reached our nation at a record speed.
The medical industry was desperately seeking answers or a cure.
There wasn't one yet. The virus was spreading, but was the threat real?
Very real. From what I've seen in the hospital, as well as outside the hospital and in clinic, coronavirus is definitely something to be taken seriously. It's something that I've seen affect all age ranges. I've had patients in the hospital, even in their 30s, that are very sick, and even patients all the way up until in their 90s that are sick. Yeah, nobody was looking for it, so it's definitely something that I've never been exposed to, I've never experienced, especially with a pandemic. We didn't think that it would really reach, this far out from where it hit in China.
Food and water, a necessity for everyone. Due to food shortages, suddenly it was difficult finding water, paper goods, and fresh meat. We were told to keep 6 feet away from the next person and practice social distancing. Signs were put up everywhere, and now we had to wear masks so we wouldn't infect the people surrounding us.
So when they first opened, I think it was Publix, early morning for people of a certain age, I should say, I decided I'm going to try it. And I made the mistake of doing it the very first day. So when I got there, there was a line to get into the store, and I was only like 10 minutes late. We were not 6 feet apart. There were no masks. The supermarket did not have any protection. The person scanning my food was not protected. I was horrified.
But safety procedures slowly began to change.
Grocery shopping hasn't really been an issue. At first it was with, the shortages.
Mm-hmm. But, once in a while I might get a stare if I happen to walk down the aisle at Publix the wrong way, unknowingly, because I'm just shopping. I'm not used to walking in a one-way, kind of a line.
Restaurants were closing their doors, but had to find some way to survive. They started takeout services and even sold groceries.
Every single day we're getting people asking us, when you guys reopen. We finally got the okay to reopen on Monday, 50% of capacity. So we'll see how it goes. Trying to get it organized and try to follow the rules and regulations and try to make sure everybody's safe. I think it's going to be different. I would expect it's going to be different, but I don't know how different it's going to be. So I guess we will wait and see it, and then what's going to happen.
Business, we were down about 75% of sales, and we just kind of like everyone else didn't know what to do. We're at the mercy of the government, and just try to follow the rules and do what we can.
Some businesses closed their doors, while others desperately tried to stay open. Businesses that were deemed essential businesses remained unaffected.
I think that there's a lot of people that are going to be affected with the quarantine. It probably does not affect me as much as it does some. I can work from home just as efficiently as I can work from in my own establishment, in my own factory. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem, and I think the world is going to change significantly once this new era of doing business becomes the norm.
I just got done doing a video shoot for a client in his home, followed all the strict protocols of masks and gloves, and and everything went very well as far as social distancing goes.
Are we going to be able to have art exhibitions where people can actually walk through a gallery and look at art in a crowded room? How will I sell my art? One of the things I'm planning to do is beef up my online presence so that I have options. You know, my other business is always going to be okay, I guess. Maybe more and more people will be thinking like I am that they have to beef up their online presence, and so my web design business will grow even more.
I've been working from home since before this happened, so I only work part-time, I work from home, so it's really been business as usual for me.
The virus even affected nonprofit organizations.
So because of the COVID-19 crisis, we have converted to helping people in other ways. Canine Assisted Therapy created a brand new program called Teledog. The Teledog program provides virtual pet therapy interactions through the use of different platforms such as FaceTime and Zoom. And that way we are still able to help people one-on-one, to help people through a variety of mental health issues.
Due to the coronavirus, the state of Florida required schools to close, so children were now being homeschooled. Keeping their kids busy and homeschooling was not an easy task for parents or their children.
When we were quickly forced into quarantine, we were very uncertain of what exactly was going to happen. And I think it goes to show how remarkable teachers are, that we can quickly adapt to overnight creating a whole new platform, a whole new education system so that our students still felt connected to us and were able to continue in the learning environment. So we're actually doing something wonderful for all the seniors that are graduating. We didn't want them to miss the idea and the feeling of graduation. We didn't want to have them leave and just feel like we forgot about them and sorry, COVID ruined your 2020 big experience here. Of course, we hope that, that this is the worst thing that happens to them in their lives, because life is going to be full of challenges, but we did not want to let that be what started out their early lives.
The first coronavirus patient that I saw and witnessed, was somebody in the early 40s, and he was fighting for his life. And that was when I knew, wow, this is real and this is really scary. But it was at that moment that I knew that the first wave probably came through in December, maybe November, because we had several patients who presented the same way. But we didn't know, and it was very odd how they were going into pulmonary failure, and just a coincidence, wow, it's rare that we get all these right in a row. So now looking back, we know that this came through way sooner than in March or February. What stands out the most to me are the young people, and some people are used to seeing young people die, but I'm not. I'm used to people who are ready to die because it's their time. And the one good thing that's come out of this is there has been a spotlight on the nursing profession.
I think what is most profound to me about this virus is thinking about who you can impact if you come down with COVID-19.
The hardest part for me is my dad. He's 83 years old and he's in a nursing home in California. And when they first called, there was one case and they were quarantined. They called a week ago, there were 5 cases and 2 staff members. They called Monday, there are 12 staff members and 15 patients. I can't talk to him. I don't know if he's okay. It's heartbreaking.
Indoor theaters were closed, so drive-in theaters began to flourish again. Under the soft Florida sky, amid the swaying palm trees, the Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival's new drive-in theater is born. The cars kept coming.
It was a fun evening for everyone, and an escape for many.
So because of the virus, we're trying to sell our place, but our building is shut down to any realtors or anybody wanting to come look at our apartment. So that's also how the virus has affected us.
My office is closed right now. It's only open to people that work here that need to go in to get something or get some copies made or whatever they need, but not for doing business. But we are doing business virtually. We're doing closings virtually. We're doing showing houses virtually. People are actually buying houses from all over the place by looking at them online.
Exercise clubs closed, and people had to find other ways to exercise.
I have been impacted by COVID-19 since March 17th of 2020. My studio is closed down. I am expected to pay business rent. Right now, I am trying to be industrious. I am doing virtual online classes in private setting for my clients that were pre-existing.
Okay, so prior to the COVID, we used to go to the gym maybe 3 or 4 times a week, 4 times a week. Since then, obviously, with the gym closed, we're not able to do that. And they're talking about it opening now. And our concern is that, what kind of risk would we be taking? What kind of issues would there be? So we're looking forward to at least get into the gym and at least see if it's still we feel safe doing it, or is it something we may want to put off and just continue the routine the way we have it now.
So I used to be a very dedicated runner. My knees are not up to it at this stage. So during the virus, this would be actually the ideal time. But I'm not running the way I used to. I'm a marathon runner. But now I've kind of converted to a bicycle. And I went out and bought what I consider an expensive bike to do a lot more exercise on the bike, just to get out of the house. Unfortunately, I'm spending more time working on the bike than I am riding the bike. But that's okay, because it's time well spent. And I think the most important thing is to spend time doing something and being somewhat productive, both physically as well as mentally.
The sports world also changed in an instant. Parks and playgrounds were closing too.
The COVID virus has affected the sports world. I'm a huge Seattle Seahawks fan. Getting ready for the NFL to kick off, but it sounds like there will be minimal to no fans in the stands, which will be odd.
I can say that the dive industry has been hit very hard by the impacts of quarantine. Not only has the industry shut down entirely because they're non-essential workers from March, April into May, so that's 3 months now. That's a huge loss of revenue for these businesses.
Not all travel was restricted, but airports looked like ghost towns, with only an occasional traveler passing through.
I'm flying to Connecticut tomorrow. I'm not concerned as a lot of people are, because first of all, the traffic is light. There's not that many people flying. Everyone's taking precautions now. You have to have a mask on before you go in. I'm taking wipes to wipe down my area. So I don't see a problem. I think it's better than us driving up there and having to stay in a motel.
Gas stations were open, but gas prices dropped fast, as there were fewer drivers on the road. The next thing we knew, we were quarantined. The best thing to do was stay home.
You can stay home from the virus, period. Don't go anywhere, just stay home, watch movies all day, or whatever you want to do, like art, stuff, whatever. So it's get something interest for yourself and do it. And that's the way how I'm doing with my life.
Well, my pastime during the coronavirus initially was to get myself organized. And I started with the closets and then and drawers, and that got boring very quickly. So then from that point I started to contact friends and have more texting and FaceTime and sending messages back and forth and doing reading and trying to get into some of the shows on Netflix and Amazon Prime that we always heard about and never watched. So we're getting all those benefits now.
Just had my baby 3 months ago, so I mean, it's basically, we were already in quarantine technically anyways, you know, because we weren't able to leave the home. So now it's just kind of a little more of that. Our family really hasn't been able to come visit us, so that's how it's affected us.
Yeah, we've had him at home this entire time, given that no one can go out and everything's closed. So that's been a unique experience, but it's been good at the same time because we get to spend a lot of extra time with them that normally we wouldn't have that opportunity to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing in disguise being able to spend all the time with him.
So we've have some long distance friends that we do get together occasionally with, and down in South Florida we get together in person, and we always want to phone call in a friend of ours or FaceTime, and we always forget, or something always happens. And since the coronavirus, we seem to have found Zoom, and now we see each other's faces, and we're able to see facial expressions, see that we've all aged a few years. But it's all good. And so we can actually see the personality, and we can turn our computers around and kind of see what's going on in their households, and spouses and loved ones come into the picture and say hi, and that's kind of neat too.
I'm a medical professor, I'm an MD, and I believe more in science than I do in politics. And so I believe that unless we open up in the correct fashion, and I believe we should open up, but I'm waiting for the spike. If the spike comes, then I'm going to hunker down again.
As far as the future goes, I think the coronavirus is going to be with us for a long, long time, and I think we haven't seen the worst of it yet. And that concerns me because I think a lot of people would like to think that we have. So I'm very concerned.
The results of this, and during this pandemic, it's not really about you and me. It's about really, you know, almost the layers of family and the people that we have. You know, whether we have an elderly parent that's in a home or has a distressed condition that we have to worry about, or a small child even. I mean, before we really knew that it affected children, and now it can affect children.
We've got a pandemic, it's a leap year, we've had a space shuttle launch, riots, an election, and supposedly an active hurricane season.
We're seeing that the divers are just really excited to get back into the water, and they want to go diving. It's, you know, it's a stress reliever. It's wonderful to be out in nature, and everything that has been going on has really created a lot of anxiety that scuba diving releases. So it's a wonderful experience. We've had amazing conditions this dive season so far. I don't know if it's because people haven't been out and they haven't been polluting, but I haven't seen the water this blue and clear in probably 3 years.
So much beauty surrounds us, it is difficult to imagine how this invisible killer is affecting our lives. But during every pandemic, including this one, the sun still rises and the moon still shines. As you watch this, we may still be experiencing the coronavirus, this Viper virus. Hopefully there will be a cure, or maybe it will already be over. But remember, be positive, live your life, be safe and be happy.